And the one thing I wanted to highlight here is that if you look at John Ternus, who's the head of hardware, got promoted to CEO yesterday, and then Johny Srouji, who I've also written about in earlier posts, the post numbers will be in the notes. Johny Srouji basically came up with Apple's silicon, the strategy that over the last half a decade plus allowed Apple to move its entire reliance from Intel on its chips to ARM-based designs that are all vertically integrated at Apple, and made Apple's laptops and smartphones and watches and so on extraordinarily capable with low power, which is perfect, which is what is needed for the AI compute per watt era that is coming. And Johny Srouji yesterday got promoted to not only take on John Ternus's old job, but also become the chief hardware officer at Apple. Now, why is this important? Because even though Apple is not spending the tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars on AI data center servers, there is still a huge amount of methodical chess game-like investments that Apple's going to have to make with partners like Google, like Amazon, etc. In addition, they're also going to have to, on a bottom-up basis, build Apple Intelligence, Siri, Gemini, which they're partnering on with Google, into their products at the hardware and software level, which is what you need. These two senior people who are running the company going forward from the top down to bake into AI gadgets going forward. And they will, of course, be able to be on the shoulders of giants like Tim Cook, who built Apple into the supply chain behemoth, which I've written about extensively. That is what's giving Apple massive opportunity today, even with the kerfuffles with US-China on trade, tariffs, supply chain issues around memory and other chips. Apple has an incomparable supply chain that, thanks to Tim Cook's experience having done that at Compaq before he joined, Steve Jobs brought him into Apple along with Johnny Ive, remember him, who's obviously working with OpenAI on gadgets. So the hardware focus at Apple is, I think, a very important thing. Obviously, they will need to bring on additional software capabilities. They've got a very good executive, obviously, in Craig Federighi, who's the chief of software, but they're going to need additional blood on this, and I'm sure we'll see more of that as the transition happens. So the gadget AI scene, I think, is pretty positive for Apple, and I just wanted to highlight this hardware leadership.